let's
How
get
you feeling?
into it. Let's
Yeah.
get into it.
Yes,
And
sir.
we're gonna open up today with some Tiger Woods news. For those who haven't heard, Tiger was in a one-car collision where he suffered multiple open fractures to his lower right leg, and had a rod placed in his tibia and screws and pins inserted in his foot and ankle. They had to pry Tiger out with the jaws of life. And once they did, he couldn't stand on his own weight on his own legs.
Jesus.
So he was carried off. He was helicoptered off, of course, to the local hospital where they performed surgery immediately. The golf world, to pay tribute to Tiger today, they all rocked the red. They all wore the red shirts with the black hat or the black visors as a tribute to Tiger Woods. It's not looking good, to be honest with you, with the type of injuries that he's had for this time around, because he had back issues before, which kept him out of playing golf for a minute. He recovered from that. This one, on the other hand, may be the injury that pushed him to retirement. If he does have to retire, it's a career that you can say he made his mark in. I don't think if he wouldn't pass Jack Nicholson, I'm sorry, Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicklaus. Yeah, he wouldn't pass him on the all-time list for what's it called? What's the green jackets called again? When they get the Masters. So he wouldn't pass him if he had to stop his career right now. But nonetheless, nobody's made a dent in the sport of golf or revolutionized it like Tiger Woods. I'm hoping that the brother can come back, but something like this, we just don't know right away. So
yeah,
that's the take on Tiger. Segueing in from Tiger, we're going to talk about Serena Williams, who herself is hinting at retiring. She lost to Naomi Osaka in her last Grand Slam tournament. She lost to Naomi Osaka. And it's funny because a couple shows ago, I talked about how we could be seeing the passing of the torch. And then they just so happened to face each other, and Serena lost in 2 straight sets. So afterwards, she was crying, emotional, because she is getting up there in age, according to sports. I don't ever say that like she's old. She's not old according to her age, but in sports world, there's only but so much your body can take. She has 23 Grand Slams, man, and no doubt the GOAT of women's tennis. Is anybody better than her? I don't even think anybody can name anybody better than Serena Williams. So latest I heard, though, is that she's, when they asked about retirement not too long ago, she said she wanted to accomplish more in the sport. But right now, she doesn't know anything. You know what I mean? So if she does choose to retire, then everybody tip their hat to her. Nobody can blame her because, she's Serena Williams, man. She's Serena Williams.
Mm-hmm. So I knew something was fishy when she lost to Naomi Osaka. It was something different about them tears. Like, those weren't tears like, oh man, I just lost and I played my hardest. I'm mad that I lost and I'm crying because I'm mad. Those was they just look like you know what? This is the next generation. Like when Magic and Bird was talking about Jordan at the Dream Team practices, when they finally realized, I felt like those tears and that stop and wave at the end was Serena. Like, yep, that's the one. That's the one. Yeah. The torch has been passed. Like, yeah, I'm good. Right. Like, what else can she do other than levitate on the court? What the fuck else can Serena Williams do with a tennis ball, man?
Right.
Put her face on a tennis ball.
I mean,
not me now.
Right.
I don't think she can do much else, man. And I'm proud of Naomi Osaka. Like, I don't want to take this away from Serena, but I'm proud of Naomi. She looked up to Serena, and she studies Serena, and she's prepared to take that baton and keep running with the sport. You know, we talked about
she's doing it with class too.
Oh my God!
Man?
Oh my God! Oh, she did. She shaded her opponent last week though. She asked her opponent at the end when she was having her conference. She said, "You like to be called Jennifer or Jen?" And her opponent said Jen. She then proceeds to call her Jennifer. So that
oh my God! Yeah,
that did not pass. So it was a moment where I laughed because I was like, I hope she did that unconsciously, because if she did that consciously, she's a savage. God,
right. She shot her from underneath the arm with that joint.
One last serve. One last serve.
Oh, man. Take that home with you. All types of disrespect.
But if it's going to be anybody to take Serena off the throne, so to speak, you're never going to take her off the throne. But if it's anybody to pass the torch to, I'm so happy it is another young sister, and I'm so happy it is a sister that can play her ass off.
Absolutely.
So definitely all props to Naomi Osaka.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely, man. But just the Tiger story and Serena story. If those two are anywhere near retire, let's say they both retire in 2021, what a year that will be. You know what I mean? Where you lose one of the greats, arguably, the great, outside of a couple of Masters, and then the all-time Grand Slam winningest woman in sports, and pro tennis. If they retire in the same year, man, it's gonna make the story for one hell of a year, you know what I mean, and one hell of a celebration for both of their careers, and Tiger, he came against some things that were, in his personal life that kind of got brought to the forefront that he's not proud of, but he bounced back from that, you know what I mean. And Serena, some of the issues she's had on the court that she shared with people, and some of the things she's dealt with and everything has been an inspiration to everyone, including Naomi. So hats off to both of them. I'm wishing both of them the best. I would love to see a redemption story where Serena comes back and she wins maybe 2 more Grand Slams, and Tiger, he comes back, and even if he just wins 1 Masters after suffering that injury, I'd be super proud of that storyline as well, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's clap it up for Naomi and Serena, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man.
For both of them, man. Definitely. And the last story. So, Canelo Alvarez fought last night. He fought a guy by the name of Yildirim. He's from Turkey, and he went out like a turkey. That shit. It's
cold as ice.
I gotta call it like I see it, man. Stan, you remember coming over years ago, watching fight nights at the crib, dog.
Yes, sir.
The sport just ain't what it used to be. And for those who didn't see the fight, I'm about to tell you about what happened. I don't care if it spoils it for you. First 3 rounds, Yildirim is, and if I'm saying his name wrong, I apologize. Yildirim. So he's standing in front of Canelo, not doing much of nothing. It's almost like, what are you in this ring for at this point? You know what I mean? 3rd round, he gets knocked down. He beats the count, survives the rest of the fight, the rest of the round, I'm gonna say that, goes back to his corner and doesn't come out. Like, that's how the fight stopped. We were looking forward to a round 4. He just sat there on the stool, and he basically gave up. And I'm not in the boxing ring, so I don't want to say that, what I would do in that but it's just a bad look, man. It looks like he was there to get paid, and
that is boo-boo.
And then, everybody talks about, we miss the warriors of the sport and everything. Well, nobody really wants to. And I think maybe that's because the money's involved, but nobody really wants to challenge anybody. I think a lot of these cats is in there trying to get paid. You know what I mean?
Hard no more, man.
Yeah.
Hard in the face no more.
Though, and I'm sitting there like,
can you blame them? You know what I'm
Not at all.
I mean, look, I understand it's the profession they chose to go into, but it's like, hey man, if I can still make a good living doing this and not be drinking or having my meals through a sippy cup, yeah, I mean, you know, I'm gonna do this in a way that kind of preserves my quality of life. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I ain't mad.
I mean, yeah.
Hey, James, how Tyson say it? Something about everybody
got to plan until they get hit
in
the face. Hey, yo.
Everybody got to play until you get punched in the face.
Yeah, it's got to be one of the best quotes ever, dog.
Yeah, man. But boxing is just, man, and you know, suffice it to say, he's a Mexican fighter, and for the longest time, and this is another topic that we can dig deep into. Boxing is very much segregated and racist, dog. I don't care what nobody tells you. They looking for the next great Mexican fighter. He can't just be a good fighter. He's a good Mexican fighter. The next fight he faces is on the weekend of Cinco de Mayo. It's just all and then to make it worse, after the fight, they already had the highlights or the previews for his next fight showing, you know, after the fight. So it almost seems like it was set up for him to win just so he can move on to the next. The guy knew that in the ring. Yildirim knew that in the ring, and he didn't put up much of a fight or resistance to it. It's just a bad look, man. I miss boxing. Y'all know I miss boxing, man. And I can't, for the life of me, it's hard watching stuff like that because you're getting people money and it seems like it's already set up for the people that they want to win to actually win the fight. All right. So Canelo goes to 55-1-2 with 37 knockouts, currently fighting at 167, which is super middleweight. His only loss was to Mayweather. And that topic has come up after the fight. Everybody was talking about how great Canelo is, and you know, people were like, well, you know, he fought Mayweather when he was 23, and Mayweather cherry picked him. First of all, Mayweather was 36 years old when he fought Canelo. You 36 and you fighting somebody 23 who at the time was 42-0-1. That ain't cherry picking, bro. That's you fighting the best that you can when you can. Right. You're supposed to wait till you 40, 42 years old and then say, okay, now this guy's learned a little bit more of boxing, so let me get in the ring with him now when I'm on my way out. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the dumbest argument I'm hearing is that, oh, he picked him when he was too young when he fought Mayweather. Who fault is that? And how you too young when you got 42 wins behind your belt? I can see if he was 10-0, but you got 42 wins. 42 wins
since he was 7.
Right. Like,
you know what I'm saying? That was a pro by the time he was like 14 or 15, right?
Like cut it out, man. Yeah. To me was amazing to hear. Like, people were making excuses like,
well, that's what they do.
He got what he earned.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So to me, to see that was great. And then Shannon Sharp, he had an issue. Somebody asked him if he could take Roy Jones Jr. in his prime and fighting Canelo at this 167 weight. Who do you take? And everybody's like, nah, Roy would get slept. And I'm like, dog, have you seen Roy Jones in his prime? Like, I can't say for a fact that that's going to be an easy fight for Canelo at all. Because
I've seen Roy drop Bammers with body shots.
Exactly.
And the fight be over. You know what I'm saying?
We talking peak Roy with the speed. If he had issues with speed versus Floyd Mayweather, what makes you think it was going to be that easy to fight Roy Jones at his prime at 167 when every punch hurts a little bit more? You know what I mean? So it's crazy, man. Boxing is dying, and because it's dying, you get questions like that. Like, who will win if they fought here? Who will win? That's always going to be the case, I know. But still, man, I'm not liking what I'm saying. And more on that, I guess, when the next fight happens. There's another unifying fight, I think, next week. if it's worth talking about, I'll talk about it. But the next big fight for Canelo is going to be Cinco de Mayo versus a guy who's 31. Canelo's now 30. And dude ain't no slouch either. He's a Brit, you know. But just a heads up for those that do want to check it. They're trying to set up a trilogy fight with Triple G, Gennady Golovkin. And the reason why that's significant is because that's the person that one of the draws, controversial draws that Canelo has on his belt, or not belt, on his record right now was against Triple G. So that's it for sports, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Again, keep Tiger Woods in your prayers, and your thoughts, and stay tuned for more.